Hey, how you doing? Let's have a conversation about how the flow of information impacts an organization's operation. Please join me on this journey of knowledge dissemination. Enjoy the video. No. What's in it for me? Why should I care? What have you done for me lately? Oh, come on. Be realistic. In this discussion, we'll dive into the human mind. It's easy to get excited about the tools, technology, and frameworks used for KM. And believe me, as a nerd, I geek out all the time about the technical possibilities. However, it would be a grave error to assume that if you build it, they will come. We are not just working with systems and processes. Ultimately, we are working with people. So, how do us knowledge workers create that warm and fuzzy feelings about our value propositions? To answer that, we must understand the human brain's reward structure. The mesolimbic dopamine system helps tell us whether or not something is rewarding. It is comprised of 8 core regions that function interdependently. The VTA, ventral tegmental area. This is the site of dopaminergic neurons, which tell the organism whether an environmental stimulus is rewarding or aversive. NAC, nucleus accumbens, also called ventral striatum. This region mediates the pleasurable effects of rewards. Amygdala. This helps an organism establish associations between environmental cues and whether or not a particular experience was rewarding. Hippocampus. This is critical for declarative memory, the memory of persons, places, or things. Hypothalamus. This is important for coordinating an individual's interest in rewards with the body's physiological state. It integrates the brain's function with the physiological needs of an organism. Frontal regions of cerebral cortex. This provides executive control over choices made in an environment. Locus coeruleus. This helps regulate the mood of an organism. Dorsal raphe. This also helps regulate the mood of an organism. Of course, getting buy-in does not happen automatically just because we say an idea is beneficial to someone. Biology needs a little help, and for that, we turn to psychology. B.F. Skinner is considered the father of what's called operant conditioning. In 1938, he published some of his work explaining this method of learning that occurs through rewards and punishments for behavior. His most famous experiments were referred to as the Skinner box. Skinner identified 3 types of responses, or operant, that can follow behavior. Neutral operants are responses from an environment that neither increase or decrease the probability of a behavior being repeated. Punishers are responses from the environment that decrease the likelihood of a behavior being repeated. Punishment weakens a particular behavior. Reinforcers, responses from the environment that increase the probability of a behavior being repeated. Reinforcers can be either positive or negative. Skinner showed how positive reinforcement worked by placing a hungry rat in his Skinner box. The box contained a lever on the side, and as the rat moved around, it would accidentally knock the lever. Immediately, a food pellet would drop into a container next to the lever. The rats quickly learned to go straight to the lever after a few times of being put in a box. The consequence of receiving food if they pressed the lever ensured that they would repeat the action again and again. Skinner showed how negative reinforcement worked by placing a rat in his Skinner box and then subjecting it to an unpleasant electrical current. As the rat moved around, it would accidentally knock the lever. Immediately, the electrical current would be switched off. The rats quickly learned to go straight to the lever after a few times of being put in the box. The consequences of escaping the electrical current ensured that they would repeat the action again and again. In fact, Skinner went even further. He taught the rats to avoid the electric current altogether. He did this by turning on a light just before the electric current came on. The rats soon learned to press a lever when the light came on because they knew that this would stop the electric current from being switched on. These response types are why operant conditioning is also known as the reinforcement theory. So, with the brain processing the joy of rewards and environmental cues encouraging the association of certain behavior with a desired state of being, we can begin to appreciate the complexity of bringing the concept of knowledge management into an environment where protecting the status quo verges on the hedonistic. We need to replace existing situational comforts contributing to an inefficient information flow with something stronger. Done effectively, we can create an environment where the right information is delivered to the right person at the right time. And the subsequent value add to that might even be a reward in and of itself. Thank you for watching. I encourage you to provide feedback and participate in this conversation. Comment, subscribe, like, visit my website. I love to hear other perspectives because knowledge is for everyone.